people coming to America, we need to expand our crops. I don't have enough money to pay people to pick all this cotton.
Daily life in Africa was filled with hard work, with people being hunters and gatherers. The men were the hunters and the women were the gatherers.
Oppression started at home with tribal leaders capturing natives to be their own slaves as well as being traded to the Europeans.
The Dutch traders captured African men for slaves. They would go to Africa, gather up slaves, to then trade them for tobacco and other goods.
I'll give you this tobacco for slaves.
How many slaves would you like?
4.
Okay.
This is one of the boats that carried the slaves to bring them from Africa to America. The trip would normally take more than a few months. Along the way, approximately 1 to 2 people would die each day, and they would throw them overboard. That means that if you started with 600 men, and each trip was 120 days, you would lose about 170 slaves, so you would only land with 430 at the end of the trip. The first slave ship to land in the Americas was in 1619 in Jamestown, Virginia. The Dutch trader traded 20 African captives for tobacco.
Now that I have free labor, I can expand my crops.
Slavery needs to stop. Don't you agree, William?
That's a good idea, Abby. We should spread the word. Let's start an anti-slavery society.
Okay, William, let's get going.
If I am elected president, I promise that slavery will be abolished.
I am now signing the Emancipation Proclamation to help end slavery.
The Civil War, fought from 1861 to 1865, was also known as the War between the States. One of the main goals of the war was to free the slaves. There were approximately 95,000 Union troops, the North, and 75,000 Confederate troops, the South. 140,414 people died in this U.S. battle. More than 180,000 black soldiers fought for the Union Army. By the end of the war, they made up more than 10% of the Union troops. Both free African Americans and runaway slaves volunteered as soldiers. The South surrendered at Appomattox, Virginia in 1865. Members of the Confederacy are now signing the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments of the Bill of Rights.
Slaves are free, but they still don't have as many rights as the white people, like voting.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination.
I solemnly swear, I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear that I will execute the office of President to the United States faithfully, that I will execute faithfully the office of President of the United States faithfully, and will to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help you God. So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
One tribe, one kind, one planet, one race. It's all one blood, don't care about your face, color of your eye or the tone of your skin, don't care where you are, don't